The day was October 14th, 2017. A strange cosmic object was flying past our planet, and no one had the slightest clue what it was. 5 days later, this interstellar object was on its way out of the solar system when Robert Warwick, an astronomer at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, spotted it. He used the Panoramic Survey Telescope and Rapid Response System in Hawaii. From the moment of its discovery, it was clear this was a weird object. It had a strange orbit, unusual speed, and mysterious properties. This strange object was later named Oumuamua, the first known interstellar object to visit our solar system. But here's the thing, it left the solar system faster than it had entered, never to return again. While tracking Oumuamua, scientists expected, perhaps naively, that it would follow a hyperbolic orbit, as though the only force acting on it would be gravitational. But what we found out was that a normal, perfectly hyperbolic orbit didn't quite fit what we observed. It was as though there was an additional acceleration, as though something unobserved was pushing it in addition to the influence of gravity. By the time it was spotted, Oumuamua had already zipped by our sun, performed a slick hyperbolic turn, and begun hurtling off in another direction. Two things in particular fixated scientists. The first was its mysterious acceleration away from the sun, which was hard to reconcile with many ideas about what it might have been made of. The second was its peculiar shape. By some estimates, it was 10 times as long as it was wide. Over the years that followed, scientific journals and global media headlines swarmed with speculation. Was it a block of solid hydrogen, a piece of debris, or was it, as the esteemed Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb suggested, an artificial construction made by an intelligent extraterrestrial civilization? There's only one way to find out. We go after it. Welcome to Astral Voyager. It's time to explore new research that outlines a mission called Project Lyra to send a probe to see if Oumuamua is as extraordinary as it appears. Theories to explain the nature of Oumuamua have included a hydrogen iceberg, an alien solar sail, and fragments of a tidally disrupted planet. All explanations have one feature in common. They are extraordinary. The research recommends a mission that launches in February 2028, spending 4 years getting gravity assists from Earth twice, and then Venus and Jupiter, finally reaching Oumuamua between 2050 and 2054. This isn't the first attempt to plot a course for Oumuamua, though. Most other attempts have resorted to using an Oberth maneuver around the sun. That tactic sees a spacecraft fall into a gravitational well, and as it's falling, use its engines to add more acceleration. The disadvantage? A massive shield would be required to protect a probe against the sun. Instead, Project Lyra employs an Earth maneuver around Jupiter. The mission would more closely resemble existing interplanetary missions. The drawback is that launch opportunities are very limited. Another option is to wait until another object like Oumuamua comes along and visit that one instead. After all, there could be several passing through our solar system each year. It could even be that most comets come from other star systems. But scientists warn it would not be wise to wait. The second interstellar object ever found, 2I/Borisov in 2019, resembles minor bodies already found in the solar system. This makes Oumuamua even more of an oddity, and it's unclear what the likelihood of encountering a similar object again might be. Not only are there aliens in our galaxy, but there are actually 4 quintillion Oumuamuas speeding across our solar system. To be fair, Loeb isn't outright saying Oumuamua was an alien spacecraft, but he is saying we should be open to that possibility. In light of that outlook, he's basically asking a question that respectable scientists would never dare to. How many possible Oumuamuas could there be in our solar system that go unnoticed? Loeb and fellow Harvard astronomer Carlos Zuckerman looked at how many interstellar visitors we've already spotted. One can use recent rates of detection of interstellar objects and known capabilities to estimate the density of similar objects in the solar neighborhood, the astronomers wrote in their study. Since Oumuamua, there have been 3 more interstellar objects detected by astronomers, making it 4 in 8 years. At that rate, Loeb and Zuckerman calculated there could be up to a staggering 40 trillion interstellar objects in the entire solar system, including areas beyond the reach of our instruments. That number is brought down to a more humble 4 quintillion figure in the habitable zone near the sun. Things get potentially exciting.
Why?
Because if some of these objects are alien, they'd be easier to detect. Some of Avi Loeb's theories might be boundary-pushing, but he never fails to raise fascinating points. Even if the majority of the 4 quintillion interstellar objects turn out to be just bits of space rock, which Loeb admits is likely, that still leaves quite a bit of room for some of them to be alien spacecraft. The first thing that comes to mind is the Kuiper Belt, a cold, dark, and distant region in the outer solar system. It's primarily made up of icy objects, dwarf planets, dust, and comets. So far, over 2,000 Kuiper Belt objects have been catalogued, but researchers believe these are only a tiny fraction of the total number of objects scientists think are out there. One thing that has fascinated NASA in the Kuiper Belt is 15,810. 15810 is a Kuiper Belt object, a large rock that orbits just outside Neptune. But is it just a rock? In April 2016, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft reached the Kuiper Belt after capturing its first target, Pluto. The probe then turned its sights toward a large object on a strange trajectory. Yes, we're talking about 15,810, named after the Celtic god of death, war, and the otherworld. Most of the objects in the Kuiper Belt are made of rock and ice, but 15810 doesn't move like any of the catalogued objects in the belt. This has made scientists question whether it's made of something completely different, something much stronger. You see, it's rotating so fast that centrifugal force should have torn it apart, but it hasn't. How could something spin so fast and stay intact? Scientists believe that the fast spin is creating artificial gravity, something that would be vital for long interstellar travel. You can't have astronauts floating around in a spacecraft while traversing hundreds of light years. This prompted New Horizons to take a closer look at the object. And here's when things get strange. As the probe tried to get a closer look, suddenly all of its sensors went dead. Transmissions were cut off. It was as if someone was monitoring our presence, someone or something that didn't want us to know about them. But just before losing contact, NASA observed that 15810 was spinning like a large spaceship would. Now, you might say it was just a technical glitch, but here's where things get even crazier. Only when New Horizons moved away from 15,810 did it suddenly come back to life, as if nothing had ever happened in the first place. To assume what it was is difficult, but if it's an intelligent alien civilization, it makes complete sense to stay far away from Earth, silently observe us from the cold and dark space in the Kuiper Belt, and whenever the need arises for a closer inspection, hop onto a spacecraft and camouflage it so that it appears as a mere space rock to the beings of our planet. Loeb has also suggested in the past that Oumuamua could be a piece of alien space junk, a defunct sailcraft that accidentally found its way to us, or it may be an active reconnaissance craft sent here to check out our solar system. He wrote in his study that there are reasons to favor the latter explanation. For starters, Oumuamua's discovery was something of an anomaly. Our own solar system doesn't shed many Oumuamua-like objects. In addition, Oumuamua's motion is roughly coincident with the average motion of material in our patch of the Milky Way galaxy, a kinematic space known as the local standard of rest. Indeed, that's why the object system of origin has been so hard to pin down. If I created an instrument whose identity I would like to hide, I would put it at the local standard of rest, Loeb said. Astronomers have used the Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia and the Allen Telescope Array in Northern California to listen for any possible signals coming from Oumuamua. To date, the object has remained silent. Should we go after Oumuamua or wait until another one shows up at our doorstep? Drop your comments below to let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to Space Beyond, because together we will explore the unknown.